in today's class, we are going to learn a new concept called as arrays. There is a concept called as arrays. Okay, now let us try to understand the drawback of why these arrays are required basically. Okay, now pay attention. This arrays is going to be very important in any programming languages. Okay, now think of a program or a problem wherein you are supposed to calculate the average or the percentage of a particular student's marks. Like in a exam, we need to declare 5 integer variables like say m1, m2, m3, m4 and m5. Like this 5 different integer variables we have to declare. Okay, now suppose if here in this case the number of subjects are very less, we can declare it to be a 5. If assume a programming concept requires more than 5 or around say assume that 10 variables are required, then in such cases what we need to do, we need to declare individually those many number of variables. If you notice here, all these variables are of the same data type, isn't it? All are of integer data type. There is a common behavior among all these things, all these 5 variables. They are used for what purpose? They are used to store the marks of 5 different subjects. Second common behavior is that the data type of all these 5 variables is integer itself. Then to make it easy for the programmer as well as for the compiler to compile and then execute, there is a concept of something called as arrays. To be a internet problem. Okay, instead of now declaring 5 different variables of the integer data type, okay, the programming concept allows us to declare a single variable of the integer data type like m. Now here I have to specify that m means m is going to be what? This is going to be an array. So I have to implicitly tell it to the computer that at the time of compilation, okay, this is not a simple variable like how we have declared this m1, m2, m3, m4, but this is something special. What is that special? It is an array. So basically now array means, try to think of something like array is a collection or a group of elements. And all those elements can be referred or identified by a single name. Instead of giving me 5 different names for 5 variables, let me make use of single variable by the name m, and this m I will denote it such a way that it will be capable of storing 5 values. Okay, that can be done by using a pair of square brackets. So here the square bracket indicates that this m is not a simple variable, but it is an array. How it will come to know? The compiler will come to know based upon the square brackets, a pair of square brackets. Now, what I said, array means a collection. It will be having a collection. Collection of what? Collection of elements. In this case, the collection is of the marks. And we know that there are 5 subjects I need to store, 5 subjects marks I want to store. Then that size I want to allocate, size in the sense, how many elements you are going to store within your collection. I need to specify that one. That number or that size should be given within this pair of brackets. Suppose if I specify it to be 5, then it says that a clear meaning to the compiler that m is an array. Array means, now we have to think like array means it is a collection or a group of what? Of elements. What type of elements? The type of data which I have declared it to be. So it is now of integer data type. So we said it is a collection. Now, how many elements it can store? The size, whatever we have provided there. From where we come to know the size? within the square brackets, the number what we provide, that will indicate it can store 5 elements within it. Okay, now suppose if I want to have another array, okay, a kind of array which can store the floating point numbers, like I want to store floating, say 10 floating point numbers, and instead of declaring 10 float variables, rather what I would be doing, I will be declaring an array of float. Then in that case, how I have to write a statement? Float. Then I need to give a name for that particular array. Say, let's say AVG, that is average, if I specify it to be. Okay, then I need to make it to be an array. How I will make it to be an array? Square brackets. And I need to specify the size, right? How many elements it is going to be stored? That size I have to provide within this brackets. So it makes a sense here that to the compiler that, okay, there is an array, not a simple variable. There is an array by the name AVG. What is the data type? Float. How many elements it can store? 10 elements. Okay, is this basic information about the array understood? Array means a group of elements. Now tell me, all those group of elements are of the same data type or of the different data type? Same data type, right? Then can we define now array? Array is nothing but it is a group of elements whose data type is same, and all those elements are referred by same name. Yes or no? For all those elements, suppose in this case there are 5 elements. How they are referred? They are referred by the same name, by the M. In this case, the name is what? AVG. All those 10 elements are referred by same name. Let us repeat the definition now. Okay, array is group of elements of the same data type and are referred by same name. Understood? Now there are different, okay, before coming to that, I said here 5 elements are there and the name of the array is M itself. Let us take the same example here, this M itself. Then how those all 5 different elements are accessed? As I said, this will store what? It can store 5 different elements. Then how I can precisely tell that which is the first element, which is the second element, or which is the 5th element? Each element which is denoted by M should be accessed. How it will be accessed? It will be accessed using something called as index or subscript. Remember these 2 words. The elements of array are accessed by index or subscript. Okay, the plural of index is indices and subscript is subscripts. Okay, subscript is subscripts. Okay, every element of an array is accessed by the unique number called as index or indices. This index or indices is a numeric value. Numeric value means it will start from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, up to the last number. Let us identify what is that last element here. Okay, now when I said this M can store 5 elements, right? And every element is accessed by the index values. The first element is accessed like this. Name of the array is what? M. Okay, to make it to be an array, we have to make use of what? Square brackets. Now, which element we want to access? First element. Okay, indexes are beginning at what number? 0. That means first number will be accessed by 0. So this m, open bracket 0 and close bracket, how we pronounce it as m of 0. This is pronounced as m of 0. M of 0. Okay. Now, suppose if I want to access the second element, m of 1. Then third element, very good. It is m of 2. Whenever we say m of 2 with respect to arrays, it is m. Then within the square brackets, that number has to be specified. Okay. Then the next number, that is fourth element, is accessed as m of 3. Then fifth element, m of 4. Is that fifth element is the last one here? Yes. Okay. Now consider, assume the another example, say int a of, don't write down anything, a of 10. Okay. Now just pay attention to this previous example. We had the size of this array is what here? Size is 5. When size is 5, the index values are starting from what number? 0 and ending at 4. Okay. Now let us take another example, an array A of 10 size. Okay. In this case, the first element of this array A is accessed as 0. So how can I denote that? A of 0. Second one, third, and what about the last one? A of 9. Now, in general, now tell me, if there is an array, say int ARR of size n, n is whatever value, right? In such case, we know that first element is accessed as 0, second element 1, third element 2, and what about last element now? N minus 1. Why not n? There are n elements, right? There are n elements. Then the last element should be accessed as n, right? Why not previous to that element? Because the index starts as 0. Since index is starting at 0, so the elements will be accessing from that array of 0 up to n minus 1. This is something which you need to remember throughout your career. Whenever there is an array, if the size of the array is n, then first element is accessed by 0th index, last element is accessed by n minus 1th index. Understood? If you look here, how many numbers I have written here? Starting from 0 to n minus 1. There are exactly n elements, right? If you count from 1 up to n minus 1, and then the last one will be the 0. So total there are n elements. Understanding this one? Okay. Now repeat the definition of array now. What is array? Yes, it is a group of elements of the same data type and are accessed or referred by same name. This same data type, there is a synonym for that one. Usually we call it to be a group of homogeneous elements. Homogeneous elements means of the same data type. Right? Followed? Yes? Yes. N minus 1. Okay. Let us understand from the beginning here. Okay. Now, initially in first example, don't write down anything. If you keep on writing, then you will miss the concepts. Okay. Don't write down as of now. Now, is this statement understood now? What this will do? Yes. Okay. Now we'll go step by step. Okay. Now we are creating an array of 5 size. Says 5 size means this array M now can store 5 elements of integer data type. And every element in the array are accessed by the index or indices. Okay, the index value will start from 0. Since there are 5 numbers, so I have to start counting from 0. 0 is the first one. Index 1 is the second element. Index 2 is the third element. Index 3 is the fourth element. And index 4 is the fifth element. So fifth element index will be what? 5 minus 1. That is 4. In the same case, if there is an array of 10 elements of the size 10, the last element, that is 10th element, will be accessed by with the index value 10 minus 1, because the first element will be accessed by 0. Always the first index value, that is the first element of the array, will be accessed by 0 index. So the last will be 1 before that. So 1 before n means n minus 1. Is that clear? Online students, is that clear? Okay. Then, in general, the syntax, always we write something, whenever we learn a new things, we write a syntax, right? So syntax for the array is data type, right? If you look here, we are providing initially a data type. So first will be data type, then a space, then name of array, and then square brackets, semicolon, within the square brackets, size. Within the square bracket, it is size. So this is the syntax of array declaration. Like how we have the variable declaration, int a, int n, int m, we do. In the same way, array declaration is the same thing. Only thing is that we use 3 extra characters, a square of brackets, a pair of square brackets, and then within that a number. That will give the total number of elements what we can store into that array. Okay. Now, the next is the types of array. Types of array. Types of array means we have basically 3 types of arrays. The first one is one-dimensional array. Second, two-dimensional array. And the last one is multi-dimensional array. Okay. One dimension, two dimension, multi-dimension. Let us try to understand in a simple term. One dimension means, think of, let me open an Excel sheet and show you. No, at the same time, let me explain one more concept. Whenever we declare an array, what actually happens in the memory? That is something you need to understand. Okay, let's wait. Okay, now I'm just revising one of the concept which we have studied earlier. Okay, now whenever we declare and say int n, is it visible clearly? No? Okay, let me just increase the size here. Is it now? Yes. When in any programming language, whenever we declare an variable like int n, corresponding memory has to be allocated for that variable in the program for the particular execution. Like means there will be a memory, as I explained in one of the class. Do you remember? Every block, the memory can be divided into a finite number of blocks. Every block can store how many bytes of, how many size? 1 byte of data. If there is a memory, computer memory, suppose if whenever we say 1 GB of pen drive or any data you take, that 1 GB granularly we can divide to a very tiny level. Every block can store exactly 1 byte of data. So suppose if I represent here, these cells, the bordered cells, whatever are there, these are what? each block is capable of storing exactly 1 byte of data. So this is again 1 byte of data. Like that, every block is capable of storing exactly 1 byte of data. Okay, now when I declare a variable n, I think you also know, right? Every block will be accessed or referred as. What is the use of in scanf statement? We write ampersand then variable name. What is that ampersand? Address of, means whenever we read a variable value we want to store into a particular memory block, then when I declare a n, okay, n is of what data type? Integer data type. To store an integer variable, how much of memory size is required? 2 bytes of memory size is required. That means this one block is not enough to store n, but what it requires? 2 continuous memory blocks. It need not be that one over here and another here. It will not be like that. It will be 2 continuous memory blocks. Every block will be having an identification number, or what we call in general term as memory location. It will be having a memory location, like how our house will be having an address, right? Is that a unique for every house? It will not be duplicated. In the same way, all these memory blocks will be having a unique identification number. We call them to be memory location or memory address. Okay. For example, if I consider this to be a 1001, this particular block address is 1001. Then the next immediate block, the address will be 1002. Next will be 1003. In this way, the memory address will keep on growing in the names for every blocks. When I declare an variable int n, what happens? Since n is of integer data type, it requires 2 blocks of memory because 2 bytes are required. So these 2 blocks will be allocated for n. Now n means whatever, suppose here if I write n equal to 10, these 2 blocks, that is 10, will be stored over here. Okay. This together, these 2 blocks will constitute the value 10 over here. Now, suppose if I declare one more variable like int m and I will assign as 20. Assume, okay, int m equal to 20. Then m is of what data type? How many blocks it requires? 2 blocks. Are they continuous memory blocks? Yes. Means now it need not to start from 1003. Anywhere the free 2 bytes if it encounters, like here, these two will be taken, and now m will be pointing over here, and that 20 value will be stored in these 2 memory blocks. N is here, m is here. What is the memory location of n? 1001 and m 1011. This happens when we declare the variables separately. When we declare the variables separately. Like now think of a situation where we are trying to declare 5 different variables. 5 different variables for what purpose? For storing the 5 subject marks. Then first variable would be stored at 1001. Second marks variable could be stored at 2001. Third will be stored at somewhere in 5001. Anywhere in the memory block it gets stored. But if we make use of array, there is an advantage. Advantage is that now suppose if I write an int m of 5, means what? M is an array now. Of what data type? Int. How many elements it can store? 5 elements. Now tell me, together for this m, how many bytes of memory is required? I am getting the answers like 2 and a 10. How it is 10? Who can answer? Raise your hands. Some of you said 10. Okay, let me repeat the question. When I declare an array m, now m is an array here. What is the size of the array? 5. Means 5 elements it can store. What is the data type? Integer. To store one element of integer data type, how many bytes required? 2 bytes. So 5 elements, 5 into 10. So we require 10 memory blocks. And all these 10 memory blocks will never be 2 blocks here, 2 blocks there, 2 blocks somewhere else. It never be like that. It will be continuously 10 memory blocks. Like when I declare here, what will happen is that something like this. In the, let me give the different values here. 2001, call this as 2002. Okay, and let me give the other numbers here. Okay, it will initially find out, okay, what? 10 bytes of free memory. Why 10 bytes of free memory? Because this M is what? M is an array here. What is the size of this array? 5. So there are 5 elements. Every element requires 2 bytes of memory. Since it is an array, array means all the elements are stored one after the other. So first 2 blocks is for the first element. Next 2 blocks are for the second element. So if I represent in a memory, okay, let me do a copy paste of these cells here for your better understanding. Okay, so let me remove these numbers first. Okay, now tell me, are they 10 in size? Are they 10 bytes? Each box is what now? Is a 2 blocks basically. So 2 into 5, there are 10 blocks. So whenever the M array is declared of 5 element size, then in the memory internally, the compiler will try to find out the continuous 10 free cells or 10 free blocks of the memory, and all these 10 blocks will be allocated or reserved for M variable or M array. Okay, now we know that every element is accessed, every element of the array is accessed by what? Index, right? First element is what? 0. So it is M of 0. It is M of 0. M of 0 means what? 1001, 1002 is M of 0. Let me write here itself. M of 0. M of 0 means these 2 blocks. Then next element is what? M of 1. Now tell me, M of 1 will it be 2003 or something else? 2003. M of 1 will be 2003. Then M of 2, 2005. M of 3 and M of 4. Very good. So M of 4. Understood the difference between when we declare the variables, individual variables, or when we declare the array variables. Whenever we declare the array variables, what compiler will do, depending upon the total size what it requires, those many blocks or those many bytes of memory will be allocated in the computer, and all those memory will be continuous memory blocks starting from first to the up to the last, whatever the memory it requires. Okay, suppose if the variable is of the float data type, if the variable of an array is of a float data type, like consider an example, say float avg, let me take only 3 here. Okay, how much of size is required for single float variable? 4 bytes. It requires 4 bytes. And here the average is an array of how many size? 3, and total 12. So it will try to find out 12 continuous free blocks, free memory bytes, and it will reserve or it will allocate for AVG. Okay, this is internally how it works. Okay, understood something out of here? Okay, now let us come back to the concept here. 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional, and 3-dimensional. Okay, now if this becomes difficult to understand here, okay, how we can just simply understand what a 1-dimensional is, like this. Think of a row of a data. Row of a data means, suppose if there is an array by the name ARR. And if it is a one dimensional, we call usually to be 1D. 1D means one dimensional. If it is a one dimensional array and the name of the array is ARR of the size say 5, then 5 blocks, okay, like this 5 blocks will be there, continuous memory blocks will be there. As of now, forget about the memory blocks. There will be 5 continuous cells will be there, and in every cell it is capable of storing a number. Say suppose if the first element value is 10, second element value is 20, 30, 40 and 50, then the first array, that is ARR of 0 is what? 10. ARR of 1 is what? 20. Like that, the last one is ARR of 4 is 50. Okay, one dimensional array means there will be a single row of data. And second point, the number of brackets, the number of square brackets here. Number, whenever I say number means it's a pair of brackets, we call it to be 1 here. Okay, in one dimensional array, it is capable of storing one row of elements, and the index, the total number of index will be only 1. Total number of index mean the sense here this pair of brackets will be 1 there. Suppose if it is a 2-dimensional array, then this pair of brackets will be 2. So total number of indices will be 2. And in multi-dimensional, as the name specifies, it is a multi, means it can be more than 2, right? It can be a 3 pair of brackets or any 4 pair of brackets. Okay, as of now, let us concentrate on one-dimensional array as of now. Okay, let us later sessions we will understand 2-dimensional array as well as 3-dimensional array. Okay, is this basic concept understood? Yes. Now tell me these examples which I explained now, this int m of 5 or int a of 5, what type of array it is? Is it a single dimensional or a 2-dimensional? It is a 1-dimensional. How did you find it out? Number of square brackets, that is number of index values there. It is only 1. If there is only one pair of square bracket, means it is single dimension or 1-dimensional array, or in short form 1D array. Okay, now suppose if I declare something like this, int a 2-dimensional, because there are 2 square brackets. Okay, understood? This syntax, whatever syntax we have written, is this applicable for 1-dimensional array? Yes, because there is only one size given there. So this syntax is, okay, is the declaration of 1-dimensional array. Okay, now for the point of examination, if there is a question, assume that the question is for a 5 marks. Write a note on array. Okay, then what are the things you need to write? First is the, yes, very good, array definition. Then before syntax, you need to write a sentence about what an index is or a subscript is. Okay, then next is the general syntax. This is you need to write. This one you need to write. Okay, and then types of arrays. What are types of arrays? And multi-dimensional. For each of those, syntax and an example. Okay, anyway, later in the concept, I will be giving you the syntax of 2-dimension and as well as multi-dimension with the examples. Now, suppose if the question is, explain 1-dimensional array. If the question is single dimensional array, again you are supposed to do the similar things. You need to first define array. You need to define an array, define index, Then write the syntax. Before writing the syntax, you just write a one-dimensional array and then write down the definition of that. In one-dimensional array, there will be how many subscripts? One subscript. The elements of the array will be accessed by single index value or single subscripts. And then the example of the one-dimensional array. Understanding? Sometimes there will be a hidden answers or a hidden questions. Hidden question in the sense, when I ask you question related to explain one-dimensional array, what you thought of, directly define the one-dimensional array. But the hidden question is that you need to also define the what is array is and the index, what index is. Those are hidden questions. Those will carry 2 marks. Definition of an array and the definition of what index is. That is 2nd marks. So those will be hidden questions. You need to understand based upon the what question it is. Understood? Okay. The further concepts, how to initialize the array elements and all, we will discuss in the next class.